Someone recently asked about speaking on Habakkuk 2:2-3, and it's about vision in the appointed time. Neville has touched on this topic also, but I want to expound on it and hopefully give some clarity. There are those who would say, well, listen, I can tell you how to manifest anything in 24 hours. Unfortunately, all manifestation doesn't happen like that. There are some things that can be, as it were, manifested immediately, but then there are some things that really do have their appointed time. So we're going to come from Scripture, and we're going to hopefully give some clarity of manifesting in its appointed time and how you can best be in a state to manifest more aptly the things that you desire. But a lot of that really is being in the right state. Many of us were out of state and we're trying to manifest things that we are not in alignment with. So let's talk about this. We're going to be coming from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verses 2-3. And we're going to be using the King James Version. Of course, there are definitely other versions out there that you could use, but we're going to be using the King James Version for this talk. And the Lord answered me, and he said, write the vision and make it plain upon the table, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait on it, because it will surely come and will not tarry, will not be delayed. What are we saying? When we're talking about the Lord, I often will say that the Lord, Elohim, the one made up of many, or I am, the self-existing one, stands for the law of right decree. But the Lord can also be the law of reverse decree, depending upon what it is that you're decreeing morning, noon, and night. Many people don't have the manifestation of the vision that they want because, of course, they're using the law of reverse decree and they're discussing and meditating and focusing upon that which they do not want. But let's get into this. It says, and the Lord answered me, the law of right decree. How does the Lord answer? The me in question is I am, the self-existing one within you. The Lord always is decreeing something through you, good, bad, or indifferent. And he said, so what are you decreeing? Morning, noon, and night. Write the vision. When we're talking about writing, this is describing in words, engraving, making something permanent. Anytime we're thinking a thought, it's being written down on the tablet of our hearts. The more we think that thought, the more engraved that thought becomes wired within our subconscious mind or upon our hearts. We're also told, make it plain upon the table. So when we're talking about the vision, it's important to make that vision plain or clear. Many of us are vacillating between two opinions, and we're told that the double-minded person shall not believe that they will receive anything from the Lord or the law of right decree or the good that one desires, God. Make sure that when you're setting your vision up, that you're making it clear, making it plain. Also, be mindful not to find yourself swayed by the opposite opinion. And this is why we speak of clarity. So a lot of times you have to get clear in mind what it is that you want to manifest in your life. It says, make it plain upon the table or the tablet of your heart or your subconscious mind, that he may run with it that reads it. Again, I say from Genesis to Revelation, this is your story. So when we're talking about the he, we're talking about, in this case, your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind can only carry out what you give it by way of your conscious mind. And how do you give it by way of your conscious mind? It's not just the verbalization of words. It's the things that we're imagining, feeling, the attitudes that we're holding. All of these things are written upon the tablet of your heart. If you're thinking in the negative about something, and you're saying to yourself, this thing will never work out for me. I don't see how this can possibly work out. You're giving your subconscious mind a decree. You're writing upon the heart of your subconscious mind. It says, write the vision and make it plain. Make plain what it is that you want to manifest in your life. Keep it clear. Don't sit there, like I said, and focus on its opposite, because then you're writing that upon the tablet of your heart. It says that he that readeth, who's the reader? Again, the reader is your subconscious mind. It's waiting on your decree. It's waiting on your prescription. It's waiting on your description in words of what it is that you desire to manifest in your world. And what it says to you, be it unto you according to your faith. Or in the famous Aladdin and the lamp, your wish is my command. Understand, you're always decreeing. You're always writing upon the tablet of your heart. A lot of times people think that thing that they want, they say, well, I want to manifest a lottery win. Everything that they say beyond that is contrary to that. There's not enough money to go around. Times are hard. I don't know how I'm going to get out this debt. So these are the things, but yet for a few brief seconds throughout the day, they imagine a lottery win. But they've erased everything about that lottery win with their thoughts throughout the rest of the day. And they say, well, this stuff doesn't work. The problem is it does work. And it's working based on what you're writing upon the tablet of your subconscious mind, or the tablet of the table of your heart. Let's go to verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry, or will not be delayed. What are we saying? This is where many people get stuck. They say, well, I've been imagining this thing for years, and it hasn't manifested. When we're talking about imagining or visualizing is foreseeing your future. Neville would call that going to the end. When you begin forecasting, visualizing, seeing your future as though it is a current reality, what you're doing is occupying in bodily form the manifestation of the thing that you desire. You're not waiting on it to happen. Jesus says the time of harvest is now. You're occupying the state, believing that you have what it is that you've imagined. Many of us call this make-believe, pretend, acting. And like I often will say, actors are the greatest at getting into the appropriate state. I think that what I'm going to do is get together with an actor friend of mine and look at doing a workshop to help you get into state. I think that if we're able to get more readily into the state of the thing that we desire, then we can begin manifesting that thing into our lives. Let's move forward. It says, but the vision is yet for an appointed time. Again, this is where many people are stuck. Many teachers will say to you, I can tell you how to manifest anything in 24 hours. Manifestation doesn't happen that way. What I'm not saying is that there aren't things that can be manifested quickly. There are things. We're manifestation systems. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Everything that we do is manifesting. Everything that we do, as Mr. Linda will say, is a miracle or nothing is. There's certain things that have their own appointed time, and Neville spoke on this. He says, that, an egg has a certain amount of time, a baby has a certain amount of time, a calf, a horse. All these things have a certain amount of time before they're materialized into the physical realm of reality. As you're waiting on giving birth, nobody says, listen, the mother's pregnant. Nobody discounts that she's pregnant. We all know that within 8 to 9 months, very rarely more, she's going to give birth to a child. When I go out to eBay and I order a package, I order something that I need or something I want, and I place that order, 99% of the time, I'm pretty certain that I'm going to get that thing that I've requested. And if not, then I open up a ticket and say, listen, this item wasn't sent to me, and I dispute. the claim, as it were, if I didn't receive my item. This is manifestation. When you put a request out there, this is not a hope so, wishful thinking. You begin to occupy the state. Let's use money, for example, because money is an easy measurement. You say, well, I'm going to be a millionaire. Saying that I'm going to be a millionaire isn't in itself enough. Many people say, I'm going to get my SP back. Saying that I'm going to get my SP back in and of itself typically isn't enough. Many people say, well, I'm going to manifest better health. Saying that I'm going to manifest better health in and of itself typically isn't enough. You have to begin clothing yourself in being a millionaire. Clothing yourself in someone who's loving and worthy of love. You have to clothe yourself in somebody who embodies health. The person that says that I'm going to be a millionaire begins to carry and conduct himself, herself, as a millionaire. They begin doing business differently. They begin to study and find out what millionaires do. Now, say that you don't do that and yet you manifested $1 million, hypothetically speaking. You're not going to keep that money long because you never learned how to be a millionaire. Say that you manifested that SP back, but you didn't learn what it took to keep an SP on your side. You didn't learn how to treat people more lovingly. You weren't receptive of that individual in that relationship. You took them for granted. So the things that you were doing before, you're doing again. And the person leaves again. The money leaves again. The health leaves again. You never learned how to occupy the state. It says the vision is for an appointed time. The vision will give birth, as scripture says. Understand this. The vision isn't necessarily what it is that you're affirming with your mouth. We don't get what we want. We get what we expect. What's the difference? Wanting is coming from a place of not having. Expectancy in the heart is that which we believe will happen and has happened. There's a difference in the level of vibration or energy when we're talking about wanting versus expectancy. How many of us have said, I told you this wasn't going to work out. This stuff never works out for me. Or this stuff is a bunch of crock. It's not real. It doesn't work. For that person, that's not coming from want. That's coming from expectancy. There's an assumption taking place. They don't believe that it's going to work. So, of course, the universe says, be it unto you according to your faith. Do you see the difference? Neville would often say, don't look at the picture as though you're watching a movie on the screen, but that you become an actor within the movie of the screen, that you begin to think from having, being, doing, and not thinking of having, being, and doing. You have to become that person who's loving in the relationship. Many people say, well, you can manifest anything. You don't have to make any changes. Like I said, even if you manifested that person back, that money, that better health, it's going to be temporary because you haven't got into the vibratory state of holding that thing that you've attracted into your life. You have to become that which you want. You have to clothe yourself in it. And I can't stress it enough, creators, that when you begin to embody the state, you're more apt to manifest. Many of you say, well, Coach, how long will it take? I can't answer that for you because for some manifestations, it's going to happen quickly. Others, it's going to happen a little bit later. And then some, it's going to seem like years. There's people, it took 40 years to manifest their dreams. But when it manifested, it was so overwhelming, the results paid for all the 40 years of lack. I can't tell you how long it's going to take to manifest that thing in your life. But I use an acronym called YES. YES simply means this. God answers with an immediate yes. That thing that you're seeking to manifest is manifested, shows up in your life almost immediately. Then there's the E. E stands for eventually. Not yet, but for an appointed time, eventually. And then the S stands for something better. You had hoped for a loving relationship. You thought it was going to be this person, And it turned out to be someone totally different that was so much more than you could ask, think, or imagine. Now, ego says, I want what I want. I'm not telling you what you can manifest and what you can't manifest. I'm just telling you that these are the things that I found true in my own life. Yes, many of my answers came with an immediate yes. I needed revenue and a door opened up like the next day. I wanted to be in a particular relationship. It didn't happen overnight. It took time. It was eventually. I wanted a certain opportunity. The door was closed. What happened was a door opened that was so much more than I could ask, think, and or imagine. We're always manifesting. You're a manifestation machine. You're manifesting morning, noon, and night. The question is, what are you giving your attention to? Because see, that's your vision. Now understand, in closing with this, and we're talking about the vision. The vision is whatever it is that you're giving your attention to, the dominant thing that you're giving your attention to. Sometimes we think that we can give a few moments to this isolated thing and then give 99% of our time to its contrary. Most of the time, almost 99% of the time, that contrary is the thing that's going to show up in your life until you make a shift in your thinking and get your vision right. Whatever that vision is, good, bad, or indifferent, it is set for an appointed time. Mr. Linda will often remind us that we're always thinking ahead of the evidence. If you want to know what your evidence is at the moment, you need only to look at your lifestyle, what Jesus called the fruits. He says, you shall know a tree by its fruits. Whatever's showing up in your life at this moment is what you thought previously. What you give your attention to right now is what's going to show up into your tomorrows. I like to say that today is the tomorrow that we talked about yesterday. What are you giving your attention to, creators? But remember this, that only you can create your perfect world. Not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day.